Hello and welcome to your Wednesday Advanced Training Call. My name is Jared Krebs. I am here in San Antonio, Texas. And before I bring our special guest on, I just want to remind you of 10 things to expect when building your USANA business. Number one, there will be ups and downs, just like anything. Number two, success or failure is up to you. If you succeed, it's because of you. If you fail, it's because of you. Not because of USANA, not because of your upline, not because of your team or your downline. Success or failure is up to you. Number three, the goal is for you to become independent and be an independent leader and example for your team. Number four, make your plan on the weekends, do it, review it, and make adjustments. Plan, do, review, and adjust. Number five, it's going to take time. It's going to take 1 year to become competent at the skill sets to do this. It's going to take 3 years to develop a significant part-time income. It's going to take 5 years to develop a significant full-time income, and 7 years to become world-class. These are just timelines. It can happen faster, but it's going to take time. Number six, it takes consistent work and hustle. You have got to be consistent, just like you are at a job. You have to show up week in and week out consistently with your business to get paid. Number seven, you're going to have to grow and get outside of your comfort zone. Very important. Number eight, mental toughness is necessary. Number nine, the grass is not greener in other companies. The grass is greener where you water it. And number 10, this is a long-term game. USANA is 27 years strong with over $2.5 billion paid to its associates. It's given me and my wife a full-time income for over a decade, as well as thousands of people around the world, and hundreds of thousands have made a part-time income over the 27 years with USANA. And bonus tip, amateurs sell products, professionals sell the vision. Make sure that you're sharing these stories with your clients. Make sure that you're letting them see that USANA is not just a great product, it's also a great income opportunity. It's also a great lifestyle. It's also great personal growth and development. And few have done it, as well as top achiever Sue Ann Okerwald-Knobloch, who is here on our call today. She's going to be sharing her numbers of prospecting for the last 4 to 5 months. And we're going to look at these and actually learn from somebody who's doing this part-time, how many friend requests, how many phone call presentations, how many enrollments, and what is happening when you take this type of an action. Sue Ann, welcome to the call.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was really happy to be invited. I just did these numbers like, a night or two ago. So it's really cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I seriously can't wait to hear them again. I know you had sent me the copy that you're about to show everybody, but when I saw it and I saw how many friend requests you have done, and if you really divide it by how many weeks throughout the year, it's manageable. It looks like a high number. It seems overwhelming when you do it, if you thought that you had to do it all in a week or a month, but you did it over multiple weeks, like 20 some weeks, right? So we want to definitely hear that, and then also like some of the things along your journey, like what you have learned by going through this many people. How have you improved with your chatting, with your connecting skills with people, your presentation skills? What have been your results? Like we just want to kind of get some of those finer details today. So take it away. How is your, I guess, what was your timeline? Since when have you been tracking? And
Yeah.
let's hear it.
Okay. So I actually printed out, because I put this in the notes on my phone. I don't know if you can see all this, but we can start at the top.
Yes.
Basically, it started with 19 weeks that I've done, and I started it I looked at the numbers from July 1 forward, because that's the beginning of the USANA year. And anyway, I'll show you that again in a second. But basically, yeah, so I just day in and day out, almost 7 days a week. I do, I'm friending 5, 7, 10 a day. Sometimes it was 20. And some of the finer points that's really interesting is that I had kind of gone back and forth whether I wanted to just like invite people like just straight away without even chatting with them and see how that was working. And then doing like warm up and basically getting to know people, sharing myself with them. And, I start by going into Facebook groups. And so I started with all my folks there, right? But Facebook groups are a little bit tricky because what happens is that they can sometimes boot you out. So, because sometimes you sign like a little agreements when you're getting in there that says, no, no prospecting, no selling things, blah, 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 So then I really thought that if I moved that over to Messenger, that it was going to be fine. But some of them tattled behind my back and I don't know who they were, what have you. And then all of a sudden I get a message from the administrator. So that was a very interesting process to go through. But what it actually did for me was then I got like a group of friends in interest groups that I was interested in, like spiritually, running, cooking, just different things, right? So then I had like this group of friends. Then when you look on your Facebook feed and it says people you may know, then all these people would scroll across there that were friends of those friends. So that's basically like how I began to then grow into a bigger group that wouldn't boot me out of any Facebook groups. And so I actually quit going into Facebook groups. To tell you the truth, I've dabbled a little bit in that again, but mostly I just go through my feed, the people you may know, and then I get all of those folks out of there. So I will, now people do this different ways. I tend to like just friend, like in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll have like 10 minutes, before I have to get the rest of the day going. Cause like, I'm part-time, so I got to have a day job. Luckily it's at home, but I still have to focus on it. And then I, sit and touch, and just like, friend, maybe 10 or 20, right? Then those folks will end up on my Messenger. And then it will say new by them, new. Those are the ones that have accepted my friendship. Then later in the evening, that's when I go into those people. I look at their profile. I see if do I want to be friends with them? Do they look like we really have enough in common to talk about? And so I like a lot of things like on their profile, not too much, but maybe 4 to 6 things. And then, like I'll see, maybe they're an author or something, and I'll say something down in their timeline. And then, so then back on Messenger, I'll be chatting with them, say, hey, we seem to have a lot of Facebook friends in common. And, I love your profile. And I see that you're an author, like, when did you write your book? Or some kind of conversation starting question that goes into them, like about them. And almost 100% then they'll start talking back. And so that's the beginning portion of doing this. So basically, as you can see here on my numbers, in that time space, I did 938 new friend requests. So this went through November 10th. And so that was all those people.
Keep those numbers up.
Okay.
Okay, so
okay.
you did 49 a week. So you're doing 7 a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's not very much. I mean, 7, right? You think, oh, that's not very much, but now it's added up to close to 1,000 people. And out of those 938, you invited all 938, or how many accepted your friend request out of the 938?
343.
343
so it's
accepted? Or
no. Okay, these were the ones that. Okay, yeah, and I didn't break it down as much as I could have, right? Okay. But 343 said yes, they would take a look.
Okay, so actually, we want to know this. You friend requested 938, but not all 938 accepted you. Probably 600, 650 accepted you, and maybe 300 either didn't accept you, or you didn't want to be friends with them, or it just didn't work out. Right. So everybody needs to know that you're going to friend, can we see the numbers again? 49 people in a week. Okay. But you might only end up chatting with 30 or 35 of those people if you're doing a good job at the connection. Right. And so that's a metric just to keep in mind. And then when you start chatting with them, what I'm hearing is that you basically ultimately invite them all after either immediately or a day or two later, you invited all 600, which led to 343 people that said yes to taking a look. Okay. And then let me see the next part. I just want to make sure. Okay. So
hold back here.
So 343 said, yes, I'll take a look. But then you said the next step is, okay, I would need to get on a phone call to explain it. And only half of those people, less than half, got on a call, right?
Right.
So that's what everyone needs to know, is that you're going to have half the people say yes, and they don't really mean yes. they say yes, and they're I don't know if they're lying to you, but they're kind of like, they're not like that interested. Okay, so you know, about half of those. So don't get offended or sad when they say yes and they don't get on the phone call, right? Now you had 117 that actually followed through. So let's see the follow through. You had 117 that followed through. And then out of those 117 that you actually did these little 20 to 30 minute presentation phone calls, you personally sponsored 14 clients and 15 associates. So that's really good. 29 people in 4 months. Type in the comments, me, if you want to enroll 29 people in 4 months.
Right.
Because that's what Sue-Ann did. And your business is just going like crazy with all this new blood, right? But now people know, like, you had to go through a pretty big amount of process, right, to attract 29 new people. What's the numbers underneath that? You have that you enrolled.
Okay.
Oh, what you have one new associate helping team. What does that mean?
Okay, so yeah, in my team, then I helped one of my team members get their own associate.
I see. Okay, so now you're having duplication, because you're
Yes.
like, so out of your 15 associates, you have one. I know you have kind of like two really that are making effort and growing their business now. So I want you all to understand, when you enroll 15 associates, they're not all going to be great. Most of them are just going to probably act as clients. Okay, they're going to tell you, I want to make money, but then they're not going to actually work and do stuff. And don't get sad. Don't get disappointed when they do that, because that's just part of the game, the business. You're also sorting for those great associates, and you're going to have probably 1 or 2 out of 10. You enroll 15 associates, and I know you have really about 2 to 3 that are actually working, right? So your team is growing, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next 4 months, because if you bring in another 30 people, 15 clients, 15 associates, now you'll probably have 1 or 2 other worker associates. You do that for the rest of the year or 2 years, you're going to build a team of like 10 or 15 really good associates. And now your income could start to go into a full-time position. You want to get to a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, you get 20 or 30 really good associates, right? So that's how it works, everybody. And what's the numbers at the very bottom of your page there? It says, for every 20 calls, you enroll 2 associates and 2 clients. So that's really cool. For every 20 phone calls, you're going to enroll 4, Sue-Ann, and you know those numbers. We did mine, and we know that for every 20, I enroll 6, right?
Right.
So as you probably also get more experienced on phone calls and whatever, you might actually pop a couple more. But right now, your numbers are phenomenal, especially for being in your 2nd year now with your business. It's really cool that you're tracking at this level. So can you talk to us about 2 things I want to ask you about? Number one is the Facebook Live clients. I see that. Can you show us that number? 3 Facebook Live clients. So can you share with everyone, how has doing consistent Facebook Lives not only given you new clients from that, but probably how did it impact the 29 that you're on Messenger with? Because you know they go back and they stalk you, right? So they go look at your page, they look at all your past lives, they look at all your past posts. What has that done for your overall prospecting and business building?
Oh yeah, it's been tremendous, because you're, like you said, that they go to look to see, like, am I a real person? You know, do I have integrity? Do I show up? And so I do 4 a week. You know, heck, you could do 7, right? But at this point, I'm doing 4. And so especially the ones when I did it on product, that's the 3 that, you know, dropped a 5 or a 10 in the comments that they wanted to try out, like on the Reset weight loss weight loss program is basically what they were looking at. I had another person, it might even be four if I think about it, because that when I talk more about business, they were interested in that. And so they were talking to me about that. They did not become an associate, but I'd have to look back on that track record on that. But basically, yes, they totally look, and they care if you're putting out value. And so like 3 of my Facebook Lives have nothing at all to do with USANA. They're just totally interests that I have, and just talking about myself and self-help, just things like that provide value to people.
Oh my God, I love it. So in other words, your Facebook Lives, you said you do 3 a week about non-USANA, right? But 3 are non-USANA topics. I know you do, like, I think you call it self-help Friday or Financial Friday and Intuitive Living Tuesday, or what are the themes?
And then because I'm practicing for a marathon, I threw the 4th one in there, which is Marathon Monday.
Marathon Monday. So she's got like one about her marathon every week, one about her intuitive living, one about financial, and then she does one about USANA, healthy living, and that's the one where she sells her product. So that's what I want you all to know, is that if you educate and inspire without being salesy 3 times a week, then you can actually sell your product once a week. And that is how you can build trust on your Facebook. If you're just sell, and every time you post, you're posting USANA, people are going to block you. They're not going to want to hear you. They're just going to say, no, I don't want to hear it. I want to buy it. But if they're like, oh, I really like what Sue-Ann does with her marathon. I really like her share on intuitive living or whatnot. Now they're open to your message. Some of you are not doing the USANA one. You're doing great Facebook Lives, and then you're not doing the one on the products. So you're actually shooting yourself in the foot because you built all this trust, right? So I want to encourage all of you to really get that in, get that 4th one in. We have a training at our team website that is how to do a Facebook Live on the products. Now, some of you are brand new. It's okay. Start to just do something with the Facebook Live. It's just like, you just got to learn. It's not going to be great at the very beginning. So can you talk about that? Like, what was your struggles at the beginning with Facebook Lives? You weren't always like this camera ready with this perfect lighting. And like, what were your first Facebook Lives like? Share with us some of that.
The funny thing, the word that comes to my mind is dreary. Like I lacked energy, and the lighting was wrong, and the angle was wrong, and what I said was just really didn't grab people and sort of bring them along. And the emotions that go with all of this, so the first time I even was going to push the button, you're almost pushing it about 10 times because, you're just nervous and scared. And then once you do it, now it's so, because I don't know, I'd have to think how many, if I'm doing 3 to 4 a week, it must be like about at least 75 of them, maybe, and so it's really getting where it's very comfortable to do them. And you just get more and more comfortable in front of the camera. And then even back with when we were talking about, getting on all the phone calls and chatting with people on Facebook, of course, like when they don't want to, get on a call or they ghost out, you do go through emotions, and Jared, you know it because I've called you. And that's like really important, call your upline and be like, hey, golly, that person, I just thought for sure. And I just felt like, and that down feeling that we all get and how to get out of that. And so I'm much better at that now, with kind of a cast iron stomach about it, that I'm just sorting. But the same thing with the Facebook Lives, you just gotta start doing it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's like this emotional, maybe evolution where it might bother you at the beginning when someone doesn't rejects you, or where your Facebook Live is not perfect, or you stumble while you're on your Facebook Live and you want to be perfect. Just, there's no perfection anyways, right? So it's kind of like, but that emotional evolution. So now it doesn't bother you at all, but you just had to do it so much to get to that point. There's no other way. It's not like you're just going to be ready one day after you meditate for 3 months. Like, you have to just keep doing this. And you're such a great example to the team of just taking action. And we call it taking massive imperfect action, right? Because If you let go of that desire or need to be perfect at it, then it's going to actually get really good. But you got to just take imperfect action at the beginning. Just keep, no rep is a bad rep. Like just the fact that you got to the gym and you're lifting some weights, there's no, even if it's not great form, you're in the gym and you are lifting weights, so that's really inspiring. And can you share with us a little bit about show me your numbers again. Okay, so you did 117 calls. Pull them up a little bit. I can't see.
Like that? This way.
No, back up.
Back up. Okay.
So you did 117 calls and you signed up 29 people. Okay, so you're signing up about 20%, right? Like two out of 10, whether it's a client or associate. But you have 8 out of 10 who are not signing up. You have hundreds of people who don't get on a phone call, right? So how do you deal with those ones, right? Like the ones that didn't sign up, or the ones that didn't get on a phone call, or that ghosted out?
Yeah, well, basically, like in a way, they like never go away from my prospecting, because they will come back up. I will see them. In fact, that's the funny thing, is they will be watching my Facebook Lives. And besides Facebook Lives, I post at least 3 times a day, probably more. I do a lot of different posting when I see stuff. Sometimes they're little, and I love story. Oh my God, story is like so important. If you put like a little bit of like a little clip of video, or you put even just a couple pictures, super, super important, because on Messenger, like if you've chatted with them, they will almost always look at your story, and you can see like this little circle that like they looked at your story, then they talk to you, and they'll make a little comment. Oh, where are you? Are you in San Antonio? And so they like we were saying, they will look at you, and because it's the only way. I mean, we're totally don't know each other, and how else are we going to get to know each other? So but yeah, so I've had many people that were watching me for months, and if I had just like blown them off, oh, they were a no, so now they're always a no. That never was that way. I will see them, and that's another little trick. Like for instance, on Veterans Day, I went and did a post, which I am a veteran, and I saw this really cute picture where someone had done, it was a woman being the veteran. Like, no, I'm not the spouse of veteran, I'm the veteran. So I was like, yeah, I'm the veteran. I'm the pilot. I'm the, person who did rappelling. I'm the, all these things, right? I'm the nurse. So put that out there, and what did it get? Like 12 shares. That was amazing. It had like something like 129 people that just like, look, they gave thumbs up, they gave hearts, they gave, no negatives. I mean, who's going to be negative on Veterans Day, right? And then probably 30 actually talked. So I'm actually going through that. That's what I was doing this morning in my DMO. My daily method of operation is and friending people, because a lot of them I either didn't know or I've never chatted with. So I don't know where they came from, how they found me, but I'm like now checking them out. And so this gave me another new list of people to go through, and I'll be like, yeah, thank you for commenting on my veterans post. Now right away we have something to talk about. Are you a veteran? Do you have veterans in the family? Those type of things. So that's how I begin the conversation. And as I had mentioned before, I had tried some doing, just like, hi, I've got something, do you want it? And that kind of worked. I actually did enroll a couple people that way, but it just doesn't feel like USANA. Let me put it that way. And me, which is like, I'm a caring person, and I want people in my team and customers that I have a connection with. And I did get a connection later with those people on the backside, but it was a bit odd to just like, hi, buy something. So that didn't work that well.
Well, I like what you just said about like you're making new contacts from your posts. So like you post about Veterans Day, or you might post about your son's birthday, or you might post about your dad going to Starbucks with your dad, but your people comment, and then those are like maybe people that you could create rapport with, chat for a day or two, and then maybe invite on the third day. And so you found a new way to like connect with people because you're posting positive content, while at the same time, all of those posts still impact the people who said no. So the the 300, 400 people that said, no, it's not for me right now, they're still watching you. So it's like you have this way to keep in touch with them. It's almost better than email because they're still going to see you on Facebook. You're still putting out positive content. They're watching you. I had somebody watch me for like a year. In fact, Herb and Carrie, I don't think they're on here, but they just enrolled with me this week. They're from Canada. They watched me for a year. They watched my posts, and now here they are, new associates. So it's so cool to see that happening with you. And how do you manage this with your daily life? Because I know you work a full-time job. You're a wife. You're a mother. Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I spoke a moment ago about that, like how I'll do like 10 minutes, like really first thing in the morning. And then, of course, my affirmations, I do that even before anything. We don't get an affirmation. It's a whole nother story, right? But, and then I got the phone and I'm getting lined up some people that will be friends that I'll speak with later. And then, of course, during the day, I am seeing other conversations happening as I can, little bits of time, because I'm focusing on the day job. And like here, I'm doing this at lunchtime, basically. So, you just fit it in all these little spots, and why is that even possible? And it really comes from my own desire inside to really just be connecting with people. Like I wake up every morning saying, like, who can I help? And so that's kind of like my driving force. So, and even when I'm out on appointments with the day job, I'm talking to people about USANA. I'm getting phone numbers and then putting them back into the system of getting on a 3-way call. So it's kind of like another way to put it is USANA ready is the way I say it. So I'm like always ready, like for an opportunity. So if I'm ready, the opportunity comes, then I can jump on it. And it's just little bits through the day. But then, like I said, concentrated efforts at the beginning and the end, which is like of the day, which are totally a USANA moment, or a USANA hour, I should say.
Okay, so I've heard the term, you're building in the nooks and crannies of your day. The little 10 minutes here, the little 5 minutes there. And then I know at night you usually do put in like a good 30 minutes to an hour of like focused prospecting. Now, you had given a really big tip that I don't want to let pass by on this call, which is affirmations. So you wake up and you said you do your affirmations first thing. What is that, and how has it impacted you for when you actually do your prospecting? Because some people don't do affirmations. What's the difference when you do them and when you don't do them?
Yeah, it just seems to be attracting really good people to me, and people in general. Like I think before I was doing them, even my mental attitude was a little lower, and then I just wasn't signing up as many people, and I especially wasn't getting associates. So my affirmation is basically that I like the feeling of sponsoring 4 or more new associates in my USANA business weekly, every week. Who are just like me or better, and my team is doing the same. And so I say that 10 times. So this is my funny ritual. Everybody's got a different one. So I've always kind of woke up, and then until really the coffee's in me, I'm not really awake. So I go out in the living room, and the TV's on, my husband's there, and then I actually lean over and sort of fall back asleep. But without falling asleep, I say that 10 times. So I'm still sort of like in this meditative mode. Then I wake up and finish the coffee.
Awesome. So, man, that is such a great affirmation. I hope all of you watching write that down. I love the feeling of personally sponsoring 4 or more associates weekly who are just like me or better, and my team is doing the same. That right there, if you put that into your mind every single morning, you love the feeling. You have to rehearse the feeling of 4 or more you're personally sponsoring weekly who are just like you or better. What do you want? You want people who are just like you or better. And you start to feel that, then you're going to attract those people. So you have to actually cultivate that in your brain, and that's going to impact every angle of your prospecting. If you skip that, instead of attracting this good, you're going to attract this good. You'll still attract, but it won't be this good. So Sue Ann, thank you for sharing that. That's such a big thing, and I want to acknowledge you for doing that, because I remember when we were doing these conversations and you didn't know about that part yet, and then I shared that with you and you started to do it, and it was like boom, and now like your business is just locking in. So thank you for sharing. We've actually run out of time. I can't believe that 30 minutes have gone by so fast. Does anyone have a question? I'm going to open it up for 2 questions. If you have a question for Sue Ann, and you're the first one to type it in, you got the first 2 people. Go ahead and type in your question. Oh, here's the first one. Jared Harris from Salt Lake City asks, what educational topics do you talk about on your Facebook Lives?
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. Well, it's really funny because I kind of have this thing about generating like brand new content. It's just a weird thing I have. So sometimes I have brought up a book, and I've gone through a book and talked about that and 3 tips that I've gotten from there. But a lot of times I just really try to think of it myself, believe it or not. From my own experiences. So if it's about my intuitive living, like how is that benefiting me? Or how can another person do such a thing as living on their hunches and living their way that way, which of course goes through all my USANA stuff as well. So, I will just come up with 3 tips, and I know some people like take a phone and they put it on the side, but I started actually just putting a sticky on the side of my thing. So you can remember what the tips were. I mean, these are tips about the tips, right? how to make lives, right?
So in other words, you just think of the topics almost that you're living through that day or that week and share from there. Is that?
Yes.
Kind of where you get it? Cool. That's what I do too. So yeah, that way it's not like I necessarily have planned out my topics. It's just like whatever I'm going through, I'll make a thing. So that's awesome. All right. Any other questions? I have not seen other questions come through. So I'm going to ask the last question. Sue Ann, what is your big piece of advice you want to give to end this call?
Well, I always say just stay consistent, and you get through the emotions, and that consistency just irons that all out. You just got to keep doing it over and over. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. It really is a game of consistency. If you can get that DMO, those activities, those invites in, I would say 5 days a week would show consistency. If you're doing 6 or 7, that's even more, but sometimes life happens, right? But if you're getting those 5, maybe 6 in every week, you are going to have great things happening in your business. Sue Ann, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Really appreciate it. This has been an enlightening interview, probably one of our most enlightening, actually. And so everybody, please, my dad's going to unmute the lines, and everyone say thank you, Sue Ann, and have an awesome day.
Thank you, Sue Ann.
Thank you, Sue Ann.
Thank you, Sue Ann.
Have an awesome day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.